And welcome back to Timberborn. This is Grumpy Beaver Gaming and we're playing the Timberpost map. We've managed to get our population sort of a little bit settled here, so we're going to jump straight into the gameplay and keep up with the momentum. Our first project here is to get some decent power up and running. As you can see, the colony is it's getting there. But we're going to need a lot more food, we're going to need a lot more power. So let's start with the food. So we'll start with popping a couple of farmhouses in there. And realistically, I want to start with corn early in the game. I want to sort of see how quickly we can get that happiness up there. So let's get a whole heap of corn planted in. There we go. With our corn planted in, let's pop down here and unlock a food factory. This is going to allow us to actually get a whole heap of bulk food up and running really quickly. It'll make the beavers less grumpy and go from there. We're going to have to start a bit of a power plant situation down here. And I know what you're saying, Grumpy, those wheels aren't going to be very efficient, but you're just going to have to watch the episode and see the final design. Here we go with our food factory. We'll unlock him, turn him around, pop him in there. Set it up for some corn rations. Pause that. We are going to need access into that second power wheel there. And we'll pop him on pause. And what we'll do is we'll get a little bridge, unlock him there, pop him out, and that way the beavers can reach out to that second wheel. Let's face it, it's a little bit too early to get any of the beavers contaminated, and we don't have bots going, so that really would hamper us. Because we're going to build a bigger power station, let's get a second one going as well. This will allow us to get a couple of extra power wheels. And as I was saying before, oh no guys, I don't think that's going to reach that. Let's get rid of that little bridge. And what we'll do is we'll get some platforms in there. That way we can get to the center of the power wheel. One more. We'll pop the bridge out there to build our scaffolding. Oh, is that going to reach? It should reach, yeah. We'll pause the food production. The food factory, I should say. And that's going to allow us to get our additional wheel out there. It'll also allow us to get a third one out there once we get the trees removed down from the base. Make that as a high priority. Mark that as a high priority. And we'll move on to the next project. Holy smokes guys, I've just noticed something. If you look up the top there, we are out of food. What can we do? Let's get some kohlrabi. No, we'll get some additional kohlrabi in there. What do we? Let's try and go for some fermented cassavas. I think they're going to give us better value. So our kohlrabi will feed them hand to mouth. So let's see how quickly we can get these cassavas in. Run beavers, run. And look at that. This is the joys of having 8 farmers in such a small area. Look how quickly they've done that. Whilst nobody's dramatically starving at this point, it is going to be a bit of touch and go, guys. We thought we were a little bit more stable than this one. But hey, we'll see how we go. Now I hear what you're saying here. Grumpy, you've got your cassavas in. What are you going to do about fermenting? Well, Grumpy's got a trick or two up his sleeve still there as well. Let's have a look up over here. We've already got geothermal power coming up to this water drill. If we pop those out, not that one, get those 3, yep. That's the way. And we put in some fermenters. We've got enough water down the base there not to impact on it. If we mark these as well as a high priority, I'm pretty sure our little beavers will be able to start punching this out. So as soon as cassavas start coming through, not only are we going to have more food, but we're also going to have an increase of well-being. Get a little bit of a path in there. It would be a bit of a tragedy if we didn't put the path in. And now it's just a case of getting him in there and getting him to build it. How quick was that, guys? That was quicker than even I thought it was going to be. Let's set that up for cassavas. fermented cassavas. Fantastic. Same as this one. And there we go. Crisis averted. So as soon as those cassavas start coming in, we're going to start fermenting them, and we're going to get a better, diverse food store for all our grumpy little beavers. Now I'm sure they're going to be quite hungry at this point, so we're just going to have to wait and see. Like always, guys, there's no point making the food if we've got nowhere to store it. You can lose so much efficiency out of your production chains if the plants are just sitting there doing nothing. Always get your storage up as high as you can. Always stock that food. And there we go. Hopefully another crisis averted for the grumpy little beavers. So why don't we check out on our power station? So we've got the second power wheel built there. It looks like they've done pretty well cleaning out all the logs in that area. I think realistically, if we start thinking ahead in the game, we should probably clean that out. Why don't we just clean up all those stumps, I should say. There we go, just like that. We've still got access to go there. He's alright still for a little while. So we're still going to have an ongoing log supply for the moment. But I'll tell you what, those hungry beavers do make me a little bit nervous. Too many yellow icons for this point of the game. Cassavas are still a little bit away. We haven't had any real deaths out of hunger yet, but I am still a little bit nervous about it. Alright guys, now that we've gotten the food beginning to get under control, let's sort of see if we can take it to the next level. We'll unpause the food factory and let them continuing to build that. This is going to be provide a lot of stability later on in the game. Now with our power plant, we need to channel the water around our power wheels to get anything resolving some efficiency out of it. But we've also got to be careful that we don't get our beavers into the bad water. So as we've come out of that quick little time lapse, you can sort of see that we've got our tree cutting area right. Corn has started to come through. Cassavas have started to come through. Kohlrabis have started to come through. Everything is beginning to turn around for our grumpy little beavers. I wonder what's that? Look at the guys coming out of the forest. We've got a couple of chipped tooths there. Let's put a grindstone in them. Make everybody just that little bit happier. Stop the grumpiness as much as we can. And while we're at it, why don't we unlock the scratching post and throw a couple of scratching posts in there. Let's see if we can get this well-being up a little bit higher as we just tickle along. If we pop down here to the base of our steps, we'll mark out where we need to be to pop some levees in, and that allows us to start building a little dam to direct the flow around our power station. We'll jump into a quick little time lapse just to show you how it's done. Just as we jump out of that time lapse, I've just noticed that we've got a couple of beavers contaminated, so let's pop in a couple of decontamination pods in there and there, make sure they're hooked up to power. I think realistically we should probably high prioritise those just to make sure our beavers don't get too grumpy and too sick. So next thing I want to look at is to get things a little bit more efficient. If we look at our power here, we're not really running at the whole efficiency that we can. We're pulling 500 or 600 horsepower out of a 400 horsepower source. So what we're going to do to offset that is we're going to build a second geothermal engine down the base there. We're going to have to pop in some extra steps, so we'll slip into a quick time lapse and let the beavers get that underway. And just like that, popping out of the time lapse, the second geothermal's nearly built. There it is, there we go guys. I'll pop in a couple of those last power shafts and she'll be right. Let's get some water pumping going here. I'm going to go a little bit overboard with this water pumping, just to sort of give us a bit of future proof. Let's sort of really start ramping up the game. As we come down to our power station, we can sort of see they've made some progress on it. But as I said before in this playthrough, my lord, the distances have really slowed down production. These guys will get this up and running. We will have enough power up here at this point, but it's going to take them a bit of a while. We're just going to have to leave them to it and do a little bit of work in the background. So let's just jump out of that time lapse and have a quick look at this. So you might have noticed the blue water coming out of there. We had a bit of a hole in our dam system. We were losing water and water pressure going out through the power wheels. Now while that was only a little loss, later on in the game with what we've got planned for there, that's going to make a huge difference. Glad we spotted that one. While we're at it, why don't we go and check out how our water pumps are going. Got all the platforms in. I'd be a lot happier if they could get the pumps actually up and running, especially towards the next drought. And while we're at it, why don't we set all 5 of these pumps to high priorities? That means that we'll be well and truly stocked up with water before the next drought. Now we've got that under control, let's have a quick look at our population. We could be actually looking to grow it a little bit faster at this point. I think what we might do is unpause one of the extra breeding pods here and just sort of see if we can get a few more beavers out there that we can actually get things built a little bit quicker. So the next project we have, we need to be starting to look at it actually, thinking a little bit further down the track. Let's have a look at our tree status over here. As you can see, we've got plenty of food, we've got plenty of water. How are we doing for lumber? Well, those pines are doing a pretty decent job. We've got some oaks in there, but I think we can ramp it up a little bit more. Let's get a few more oaks in there. We'll start playing the long game strategy here. We won't need them just straight away, but you'll certainly see what we're doing with them in the next episode. So it's all well and good to have all those trees coming in. Let's start looking at something to actually, a place to store them. So why don't we just start with a pause here. So we'll pause the game. I don't want these guys building it while we're trying to work out what we're doing. What we're trying to do is build a multi-layer storage facilities. I don't think we really want it there. Do we want it there? That's better, Grumpy. We'll get it around to there. Do we have enough there? Yep. And that's, no. That's better. Actually, we need to look for some steps up in the future. So we'll get rid of that third one. There we go. Off he goes. Put it back in there and we'll start building some platforms in the centres. Come on, Grumpy, get it right. There we go. And what that's going to allow us to do is to actually have some platforms and some stairs so we can start building a spiral staircase up in the centre of these. So as we go, we've got a stair there. We've got a couple of platforms there that we can turn around, which will give us something that's really quite repeatable. And we can go as high as the sky we like. So let's get that last staircase in there. We'll go up for another single platform there. No, let's put a double in. Let's make it a little bit more efficient, a little bit neater. And as you can see from there, that is an easy pattern that we can just replicate up and up and up and up and up. Put those platforms in there, that gives us a pathway all across the others, so when we put the second level in, they'll already be connected. And as you imagine, we'll set these all up for logs, but you don't really need to see that. All you guys and girls out there know how to set it up for logs. Here we go. Look at that, guys. We've got notification up there that there's going to be a new bad water source opening. Look at that one flashing just down there on the bottom left hand side of the screen. Now this is where our preparations really kicked in from before. They're tied, nice and tight and sealed up. If we didn't catch this in the early game, this could have been really quite disastrous for our beavers, and that would have made absolutely everybody really grumpy about this. So while we're here, we'll just clean up these platforms from the construction. We'll pop in a bit of a path in there so we can connect the resources that are actually down there, and that'll just clean that up nicely. While we're here, we'll check the other one that we actually set up earlier in the game. And it looks like we've got a wall there. Let's just check that it goes all the way up. It looks like we're right there. Grumpy, get it right. Sorry guys, we'll scroll back down. And like the last one, we'll just clear out those paths, connect the tanks, and just sort that all out. This stage of the game, I think we're nearly at the point where we just need to do a bit of a clean up and a bit of a little bit of housekeeping, for lack of a better term. Now that that's all under control, let's check around for our other projects. Let's have a look at the power station. I'll pop that into a time lapse. Let's see how quickly we can get that built. And as we're coming out of that time lapse, we've just placed the last power shaft. Now all we've got to do is get the beavers down there to build it. Is he down there? Come on little beaver, you can do it. And we're in. We've got our last power shaft in place. And look at that. We now have 20 power wheels, all connected up. What type of power does everybody think we're going to be making with the flow we've got going down through there? And look at that. Nearly 2,800 horsepower. That's really going to help out our and help the population grow and become more stable. Let's make sure we've got all the settings right on this one. Make sure we've got somebody actually in there to run it and make some corn. Let's have a look over here. Jeez guys, our boundary this seems to be doing pretty well there. All through this bad time, not a single leak. You may have seen one of my shorts where in my test platform, we've actually hidden all this. No one will know. And as you imagine, we've got a nice flow off the end there. Moving forward, we can see both our geothermal engines are up. We've got some good water storage through here, through the bad tide. Everything seems to be really moving across. We've got a little bit of green space there. Let's clean that up with a little bit of extra food, because I think really we're going to get to the stage where we can start growing the population through soon. So we'll throw some cassavas in there, and this will help keep the raw materials up to the fermenting team. Let's face it, fermented cassavas can be a little bit challenging to keep the supply and demand of the situation right. While we're at it, let's think about making some extra room in there for some storage. I want to be able to retain a lot more water in this. We've got the facilities to be able to pump it. Let's make sure we've got somewhere to store it. So let's pop a path down there. And that's going to give us plenty of room for the future. It'll also set up the boundaries so we know where we're going to be building things. While we're at it, let's just keep in mind that we're going to need some stairs to the second level access. Let's sort of see if we can get... No. Do we? Yep. No. Get it right. Jeez, they beat me to it. Very efficient little beavers. And that leaves a pathway across there, so we'll leave that second platform there. If we need it, we need it. Now moving forward, what else do we need to look at here? Everything's looking pretty good. The bad tides ended. We haven't had any catastrophes. We hadn't had any major deaths. Population is still growing. But I'd really want to start future-proofing. Let's have a quick look at sort of see what we can do around the map. I actually want to see where our water collection's at. Oh, look at that, guys. We don't even have any beavers pumping in there. Let's up the priority to those. Collecting water in this season is going to get more and more important as we get the population higher and as the population increases in the game. With that sorted out, I think we'll be ready for future proofing, getting more storage as the population grows, and tackling a lot of the other challenges in this map. The next project I want to tackle is I want to get bad water. If we get bad water in here, guys, we can start doing dynamite, which means we can start doing the terraforming. Really opens up the opportunities for what we can do. At the moment, we've got a little bit of dynamite, but that was only a legacy of actually the storage facilities underground. We need to be standing on our own 2 feet. So we'll unlock the bad water pumps. And as always, let's build it big for the first time. So I'm going to pop in a couple. I'm going to go get a path in there to make sure we can get in there. We certainly have space for 3. We can clear out a little bit of space in the background there as well as for storage. So we're going to use some of the valuable dynamite that we've already got. And we'll lay that down. Now that that's in place, it's only logical if we're going to start making the bad water. Let's start looking at it, making an explosives factory. I always seem to lose this one. No, it's not there. No, get it right. Not a tunnel. There it is. Geez, Grumpy, get it together. I'll pop him in there. And don't worry, guys. The infrastructure we're building down here is only temporary for early gameplay. We will be relocating this, as you'll see in up and coming episodes. It's just a case of getting these guys through, and look how quickly they can do it. We're going to get a bit of an explosion. It's been a while since we've had a bit of a boom boom in this one, so let's have a zoom in and have a go. It's only a small one, but any boom boom's better than no boom boom. And I've got to shout out to Skystorm for that sense of humour. He was a big influence in actually me taking up Timberborn. I haven't seen him on YouTube in the last couple of months. He's sorely missed, but big shout out to Skystorm. Go and have a look at his channel if you get the chance. And just like that, we've got our 6 in. And there's our small little boom boom. You gotta love it. We'll pop a tank in there. Turn him around. And as always, we've got planning for extra storage there, so as we ramp up, we're going to be able to actually store a lot more bad water. So let's have a little bit of an overview and a little bit of a wrap up. What have we achieved this episode? We've got a reasonably large, for early game, power station in place. We've got explosives in place. We're beginning to get the fundamentals of our core storage in place. What else have we done? We've established some really good crops, water pumping seasons. What a really productive episode we've had here, guys. If we look over in the corner there, we've also got our waiting. Not sure. If we look over in the corner here, we've even got a hauler's post and a builder's hut. We've started to get decorations on top of the lodges. Things really have started moving forward for all of our beavers. We've got a whole heap of corn rations. Look how much food we've got there, guys. So I'd say that our desperate beavers are really beginning to thrive. Now what are we going to do in the up and coming episodes? We're going to actually really secure our water future for the rest of the playthrough. We're going to start building dams, and that's what beavers love to do. They'll stop being grumpy if we actually start giving them some dams to play with. And let's face it, who really wants to play with a grumpy beaver? If we look at our water situation currently as it sounds, we have about 600 local water here, another couple hundred water stored underground, giving us a total of about 1,000. But I think one last job before we actually wrap this episode up is So let's start looking at the actual bumping up those numbers for the water. Let's get a couple of extra tanks in here, just as a last job, just so we know that it's actually in the build queue. There's one. What have I done there? No, that was right. No. Come on, Grumpy. What are you trying to do? Get it in there. Yeah, that's right. There we go. That means we can fit another 3. That'll give us 1,500 water above ground. And let's face it, we want to have that water, our food, and all the essential services that they need really close to their dwellings. That means that they lose a lot less time running around chasing after food and essential services. And there we go. All the tanks are being built, and this is really about time for us to wrap up. It has been a really productive episode. I've got big plans for the dams in the future, so make sure you join into the future episodes of Grumpy Beaver Gaming. And as it is YouTube and we've got that algorithm to play with, don't forget to like and subscribe, as that really does help out a young channel like this one. Once again, thank you for joining Grumpy Beaver Gaming.